Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesdays at 2 with Haven, and also happy first day of fall. In light of the first day of fall, today we're going to be looking at some design trends for the fall and winter season. So I'm going to jump right in. We're just going to highlight a few. We've talked about trends generally for 2020 on our Tuesdays at 2 in the past, back when we were doing them via Zoom instead of Instagram Live. And so you'll notice maybe that some of these trends for fall and winter fall into the same sort of categories that 2020 gave us trends for as well. But some of them are going to be specific to the season and just to what 2020 has brought onto us that we weren't expecting at the beginning of the year. So we're going to dive right in, and we're going to talk about trending in home decor, specifically in terms of color schemes, materials, and in terms of general styles. And so let me pull up my images here. So we're going to be looking at trends for fall and winter because a lot of times they overlap, the cozy seasons. So first we're going to talk about colors. Colors every year get predicted, trended, and then they start popping up everywhere. And so you'll notice some of these were in the 2020 list for some different colors that were trending for the year, some different just like schemes and putting them together, and that's no surprise. So we have sage green specifically as a really big color for the fall. This color is great because you can kind of blend it with a lot of different styles, and it's warm, but it's not really overwhelming. So we're seeing a lot of green continuing into this fall and winter season. We're also seeing earth tones with those greens, so those terracotta colors, kind of burnt yellows, those deep oranges, all those great warm earth tone colors, which can go great with the green or with other colors as well. We're also seeing blue and white. Blue and white is a classic color combination that really just kind of comes around every year, but especially as you go into winter and it gets really cold, those snowy days kind of evoke that crisp blue and white. We are seeing more beiges come back this year, those warmer whites, so it'll be interesting to see how those blues of the winter play into that warm white that's coming back as well. And of course, the rich and bold jewel tones. So even all of the colors we just mentioned are getting kind of a revamp in terms of like being really saturated and getting really bold with those color choices. And so that's been kind of cool to see. So you're seeing some of the emeralds being pulled from those sage greens. You're even seeing some shimmery terracottas and like golden colors that evoke those earth tones, but in a rich and bold way. Next, we're going to talk about materials and fabrics that are trending. So definitely we're seeing a big uptick in eco-friendly fabrics. This hasn't really been specific just to 2020. I think it's something that's been gaining momentum over the years, and that's great. We love to see more eco-friendly materials, recycled materials, but especially going into 2020 and into the fall and winter, we're seeing those even more, especially in terms of bedding from organic materials and upholstery from recycled materials. We're also seeing a lot of boucle, which is kind of like a teddy bear fuzzy sort of fabric. Think like teddy bear, but a more sophisticated, refined version. We're seeing a lot of boucle, which makes sense. It's very cozy, it's warm, and so when it's getting colder outside, it makes sense to put that in your home. If you want to just try it out in a small way, we recommend, like a poof or a pillow, but there are some great boucle sofas on the market right now too, so if you know you're going to like it for a long time, go ahead and go big with some boucle there. Velvet has been trending for a while, and it's definitely not going anywhere. We're still seeing it going into fall and winter. It's a very cozy feeling fabric, but it also kind of is used a lot near like New Year's Eve because it sort of has a holiday sort of feel to it because of the shimmer, and so we're seeing a lot of that too. And even though maybe the holidays are going to be celebrated a little bit differently this year, we are seeing velvets in bedding as well. So even in things that aren't necessarily going to be used by like your family members coming to stay with you, we're seeing it all over there as well. And lastly, for materials, we're also seeing a lot of texture. So that's pretty obvious given what we already talked about in terms of boucle and velvet. But even in some lighter weight fabrics, we're seeing a lot of texture either being embroidered or woven differently, and bringing some of that earthy and organic sort of layers to your home is really a good idea for this season. So along with colors and materials and fabrics, you sometimes get sort of a style or a theme or a vibe, if you want to say, that can trend as well. And this is oftentimes reflected by what's going on in the world around us and what's going on in our society. So some of these obviously are a direct result of being stuck inside our house for a long time and being quarantined and staying at home a lot more often. So it's no surprise that the bringing the outdoors in is trending. I don't even really know if you could call that a trend anymore. It might just be something that we just do now. But definitely adding greenery and florals and natural materials inside the home to sort of evoke the nature of being outside is trending. In addition to that, if you do have an outdoor space, it's also very much trending to extend the life of that outdoor space as much as you possibly can. So even though it's getting colder outside, we're trying to add layers like blankets and more pillows, maybe some heat lamps to our outdoor spaces so that we can use them for as long as possible before we are actually fully stuck inside for a Chicago winter. We're also seeing a really big emphasis on dining areas in the home. So really just kind of embracing the fact that we're going to be staying in. Maybe you will have some close family over, but not really huge parties or anything like that. So there's kind of an emphasis on really making that dining space intimate and beautiful. And so we're seeing all of the trends that we already mentioned come up in tableware as well. And the last trend that we're seeing in terms of just like a design style is really just a bolder version of Scandinavian style. So Scandinavian style is really known for its simplicity, its natural materials, a lot of neutrals, but we're kind of seeing it get a revamp with some bold color choices. And some of these colors are the colors that are trending. Some of them are, have those elements, but then are being kind of brought out in different ways. And we're really interested to see how this sort of plays out, because it's a really good opportunity for multiple design styles to come together, because Scandinavian design itself in terms of furniture can sort of go in whatever sort of setting you have. So we've been interested to see how that has come about and how it will continue in the fall and winter season. So those are just a few areas where we've been seeing some trends for fall and winter. Hopefully some of these inspired you for what you want to do as you enter this season. But really it was just fun to take a look at them with you, and thank you for joining us for another Tuesdays at 2, and we'll see you next week.